do a video on soulmates. Do we have a soulmate? Just in case you're wondering, yes. Yes, we do. Every single one of us has a soulmate. Your soulmate is another soul that you have an agreement with and have known for eons, for like ever, maybe possibly since your soul became a soul. Some of you may meet your soulmate in this lifetime. However, some of you won't, because we don't always come back to Earth together. We don't always come back to Earth with our soulmate each time around, but you still have a soulmate, even though it's a possibility that your soulmate decided to stay on the other side while you experience life here without your soulmate. And that could have been something you both agreed to. And just because your soulmate did not incarnate with you, it doesn't mean that they are not with you. They're still with you, they're just with you in spirit. And they're probably guiding you. Now, if your soulmate is in spirit, they will find a way to communicate with you to let you know that they are with you. They will give you a sign. So if you haven't found your soulmate yet, it's a possibility it's because your soulmate did not incarnate with you in this lifetime. So pay attention consciously for signs. Pay attention to your dreams, because it's a possibility your soulmate is communicating with you through your dreams. Also, I'd like to mention that a lot of you guys are looking for soulmates in the human form. And it's a possibility if they did not incarnate with you in this lifetime, your soulmate could be an animal. It could be your cat. It could be your dog. It could be a squirrel that comes and visits you every single morning on your porch. It could be a bird. It could be a butterfly. So pay attention to the signs. So souls that meet their soulmates, and when they meet on Earth, when they finally find each other, will spend time together and form a relationship. And a lot of the times they'll form a romantic relationship. And when that happens, cheating is extremely rare between soulmates. People can often be surprised when they meet their soulmate because their soulmate is not who they expected them to be. They're not what they expected them to be. They might be a different race. They might be a different religion. They might be a different gender to what they expected. I mean, your soulmate might not even be a human. It could be an animal that you just love unconditionally, you know? There can also be a large age difference between you and your soulmate. And when you find your soulmate, that's never an issue, that there's a huge age difference. I mean, my soulmate is my husband, and he's 13 years older than me. And that's not a huge difference for me. That it doesn't make any difference at all. I don't even think about it, you know? And when you love somebody unconditional, you know, there's love and understanding. So there's nothing that could come between that. Some people get so frustrated and even dislike their soulmate. They don't even like their soulmate when they first meet them. But over time, they find that they cannot live without that person. In short, as different as your personalities may be, your souls are alike. Even though they're alike, there's a lot of opposites that made you feel like you didn't really like your soulmate. But guess what? We live in an electric world, an electric universe. We are electric beings. So opposites attract. A negative and a positive makes a connection. It makes a charge. It makes you feel like you're alive. You found what makes your energy flow and makes you happy. It charges up your soul and makes you feel the instant connection. You found your other half, and you just know it. And only you will know when you met your soulmate. Only you will recognize that feeling for you. Nobody else can tell you that that's your soulmate. Nobody else can tell you that that person is right for you. Only you will know when you met your soulmate. A lot of the time in life, people have asked me, how did you know that your husband was your soulmate? How did you know your husband was the right man for you? And you really can't explain it to them. You can't really put it into words. you just know. There's a knowing. And if you're in a relationship and you're questioning if that person is right for you, then it's probably that's probably an indication that that person is not right for you, or you're just not tuned in to yourself, your higher self, and maybe you should meditate. But ultimately, when you find the person you love, when you find your soulmate, you will know. If you can't live without that person and you guys separate and you feel empty and lost and lonely, that's your soulmate. I mean, again, I can't put it into words. You just have a knowing. It's like I get a feeling in my throat, my chest, my stomach, my mind. I just get all these, they all line up with each other, and it's just like it's like a connection. I just know. There's no other way I can put it. It's just a knowing. Now, a lot of people confuse soulmates with twin souls. This is something totally different from a soulmate. Twin souls are connected from birth, kind of like siblings or besties. So if you're in a relationship with your soulmate or you found your twin soul and you lost your twin soul or your soulmate, you have to understand that relationships do carry on even after we die. We never really lose anybody. Remember, we are divine beings. We only drop this vessel. Just because your soulmate passed on or your twin flame passed on, it doesn't mean that they're no longer with you. They're still with you. They're not in this vessel anymore. You can't, your eyes have nothing to reflect off of, so you can no longer see them. But if you're in tune to your higher self, you'll be able to feel them. Now, in order to find your soulmate, you have to be active in life. You can't just be a hermit. You can't just lay on the sofa and then snap your fingers and your soulmate appears. It doesn't happen like that. You have to be an active person. You have to get out of your house and do things. So for instance, if you get the urge to go to, I don't know, a random place like the library, maybe the library is somewhere that you never go, but all of a sudden you get this little voice in your head that says, hey, you should go to the library for some odd reason. I don't know. Or if you get that little voice in your head that says, today I want to go to the beach. Or if you feel guided to join a group, maybe you're into yoga or something and you do it at home and you've never done it in public in a group, and then all of a sudden you get this voice in your head that says, hey Gabby, you should join a yoga group today. You should listen to those urges. Those urges are your higher self. Those urges are your guides, your spiritual divine team guiding you. Your intuition will never steer you wrong. So if you're getting those voices or those ideas to do random things that you don't normally do, listen to those urges. That is your intuition guiding you to get out and do something that pleases you or may please you. Do something different in your day that you wouldn't normally do. Don't break away from repetition. Break away from doing what you normally do every single day. Break the cycle and get out there and do something different, do something new. Timing is everything. And when things line up, you and your soulmate will meet. You'll connect. You may find each other in the library or in the yoga studio or at the beach. Timing is everything. Again, your soulmate is just not going to come and knock on your door and be like, hi, I'm your soulmate. I'm supposed to be with you. It doesn't work like that. Now, in most cases, you'll probably meet under the most bizarre and odd and strange circumstances when you least expect it, when you're not even thinking about your soulmate or finding a soulmate. You're just gonna like meet in the most strangest, oddest way. I met my husband at a club. I was promoting, I was working, and we booked him because he sings, he performs, he sings freestyle music. So we booked him to perform, and at the time I was engaged, and he was married. Now, later on, when we got together, he shared a story with me. He says when he first met me, that first night when he first met me, he says he heard a voice, even though he was married. He heard a voice in his head say, he says it was God. God told him that he was going to marry that woman. That woman was me. Now, after his performance that night, I remember everything. After his performance that night, he was a little friendly, a little too friendly, a little too friendly for me because I knew he was married and I was engaged. And I was just like, typical artist. That was what I was thinking in my head. Now, years later, I found out why he was just a little too friendly. He says he was trying to get close enough to me to see if I could feel the connection. That's what he said, to see if I could feel the connection. Something told him to get close to me. And even he was really like, when he talked, he was like, yeah, you blah, 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 blah. You should just come over here. He was really touchy. And I'm not a person that likes to be touched. So like when we're in public, I usually have this like space bubble and I don't allow anybody into my space bubble. So when he was talking to me and his hand gestures kept touching me, I was just like, this guy, I swear. So he said he was trying to stand as close to me as he possibly could to see if I could feel his connection. But he said he was trying to do it in a way that he wasn't coming off creepy. And I was like, well, you came off creepy. Now, I remember that night, and all I could remember thinking was, this guy is married. And he's a little too friendly. Like, what's wrong with this guy? His wife is sitting right there. Like, whoa. So I was trying to keep my distance. I was trying to be respectful, but at the same time, I was working and being a promoter and running an event. My job was to make sure that the artists are happy and they're taken care of, and part of my job was to communicate with them. So it was kind of hard to do that. I was trying to keep my distance, but at the same time make the artist happy and everybody that was in his group. So it was like, I don't know, it was bizarre. See, bizarre moment, random, strange, odd, bizarre moment. Now I booked Freeze, my husband. That's his stage name, Freeze. I booked Freeze because he's a very talented artist, and I've always been a huge fan of his. Now, this is the strange part of all this. Not only was I've always been a huge fan of his. In my bedroom, I had one picture of one artist on my walls. Now we're talking. I was like, well, how old was I? God, I was young. I was like 19 years old. And in my bedroom, I had one picture of an artist, and that picture was of Freeze, my husband. And that picture hung above my bed on the side of the bed that I slept on. And my fiance at the time used to get so mad and so jealous over a picture. I could never understand it. I'm like, it's just a picture. It's a picture of an artist, somebody that I would never date. I would never even date an artist. I used to say that all the time. I would never date an artist. I would never date anybody in the entertainment industry, the music industry, any industry like that. So I couldn't understand why he was so jealous of this guy hanging on my wall that at the time I had never even met yet before booking him. And he would always take my picture down, and he would set it on my dresser. Most of the time he would set it on my dresser and put a lot of stuff on top of it, and I would say, why is this picture on my dresser? And he would say, because it fell down again. That was his excuse. He would always say the picture fell, and I'm like, yeah, okay, the picture didn't fall. He was taking the picture down because he didn't want to look at it. So fast forward, years and years later, I went through a separation, and me and Freeze, or Freeze and I, we reconnected on MySpace. How many of you guys remember MySpace? I'm like, whoa, like that was so long ago, MySpace. MySpace. I mean, come on now. I think the first social site I ever went on was something called migente.com, and then MySpace became popular. So I had reconnected with Freeze on MySpace because I wanted to book him for an event in New York, and somebody somewhere told me, yeah, you can find Freeze. I don't have his number, but you can find him on MySpace. So I went on MySpace and I left him a private message, and then that's how we reconnected. Now, he responded back to me. He was so flirtatious. He wanted my phone number. He was getting all cutesy cutesy. And I was like, listen, pump your brakes. Pump those brakes. I don't date artists. Okay? I'm not going to give you my phone number. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to book you now because I don't date unprofessional people. I don't date my clients. And I just couldn't understand why it was so hard for him to understand this. And I couldn't understand why he was coming off so strongly. And I don't know. Finally, I caved. I don't know what happened. Just, it must have been the whole soulmate thing. Something happened. We connected. Um, After he responded to my MySpace private message, it took me a month. He gave me his phone number and he messaged me every single day. I ignored a lot of his messages. And then finally, I gave in. I don't know. I gave in. His cuteness, cutesy putesy self just stole my heart. I don't know what to say. I don't really even remember how. I ended up just calling him. I want to say he actually kind of tricked me into calling him, but it was so long ago, I honestly don't even remember. But anyways, long story short, the universe has a really funny way of doing things because now we're married. It's been 11 years that we've been married. It's been 12 years that we've been together. And I've known him for 23 years. He's 13 years older than me. And that's my soulmate. Now, when you're trying to find your soulmate, when your soul is trying to find your soulmate, your spirit guides may play a role in trying to match you guys up. You may see them in a dream. You may see your soulmate in a dream before you guys even meet each other. Someone may unknowingly act as a catalyst and mention your soulmate's name to get a strong feeling so you can um, create this strong feeling, and then later suddenly you guys meet each other and it's just like so bizarre. I'm telling you, when you meet your soulmate, it's gonna possibly be so strange, so bizarre, and so random, and you'll have so many stories that you'll be able to share about it because it'll be that awkward and strange and bizarre and just different. It's different than just going to a bar and sitting next to somebody that's taking shots and you guys form a little connection and you guys go home and and then you have a little relationship from that, and then that's not your soulmate. I mean, it could happen, but chances are that's not your soulmate. That's just company. I feel that your soul, your oversoul, and your soulmate's oversoul use your guides to help find your soulmate. That's why I say it's important to listen to your intuition. Listen to that little voice that's coming through. Sometimes it's very simple. You may bump into your soulmate at the grocery store. You may bump into your soulmate shopping. You may even have a fender bender and bump into your soulmate that way. But you have to be somewhat active in life to meet your soulmate. So you have to get out of your house, you have to go out into public, and you have to be somewhat active. Now, in some cases, your soul and your soulmate's soul may agree that you will not connect with each other until you are in harmony and at peace with who you are as a person in a certain lifetime, or you will only meet when you are feeling good about yourself. So if you have not met your soulmate, it's probably because you are looking and focused on them and you're not focused on yourself. You don't love yourself, and you need to love yourself before you could love somebody else. So if you are service to self, if you are just all about you, but you're not happy even though you're all about you, and you're just you're not aligned with who you are. It's a possibility that your soulmate may not come into your life until you are aligned with yourself, because if you're not aligned with yourself and you meet your soulmate, you're going to miss the connection because you guys are not going to make that connection. Now you're probably wondering, how will I recognize my soulmate? How will I recognize them? How will I know that that's my soulmate? Trust me. When you meet your soulmate, when you find your soulmate, you will know, because you will feel it. When the timing is right, you will just know. It's all about knowing and the right timing. But, there's always a but. It's not always that easy. Some soulmates know each other for many, many years before realizing that they're actually soulmates. And some know the instant that they meet each other. When you meet your soulmate, it's kind of like you've met another part of yourself, and then things just work out. You guys are like a team. Now, you will have a physical attraction to your soulmate, even though it may not be the way you thought it would be. It may not be to the standards of what you had in mind. Either way, even if your soulmate don't look the way you thought that they would look, or they don't talk the way you thought that they would talk, or they don't believe the way you believe, either way, they will look and grow on you, and you will fall in love with their energy. You may not fall in love with their appearance. You may fall in love with their energy. You're falling in love with who they are, because this this vessel that you're looking at, this is not your soulmate. Your soulmate is what's inside your soul. That's your soulmate. Just be like you like how can I put this? What's a good analogy? Beauty and the Beast is a good analogy. Beauty. Bella was beautiful and she fell in love with the beast. He was all ugly, he was a beast, he was an animal, and she fell in love with him, his soul. She didn't fall in love with his appearance. She fell in love with his personality. She fell in love with his character. She fell in love with his soul. Bella and the Beast are soulmates. So you're going to fall in love with the energy between the two of you. Now, most people, when they meet their soulmate, they report a feeling of already knowing that person. They feel like they've known that person forever, even though that they just met each other. They feel like they've known each other forever and ever. I felt like that when I met Freeze, my husband, and being apart can seem unbearable, and I don't like to be apart from him. I like to have my space, I like to have my alone time, but I mean, if he had to leave for 3 or 4 months, I would feel lonely. I would feel lost. I'd feel like I lost my other half. You and your soulmate could possibly be absolutely opposites, or you may be very similar to each other. You may not even get along some of the time, but there is a feeling that you just can't be or live without them. And if you get all of those feelings, it's a possibility that you have found your other half. When you find your soulmate, you'll find that you have these funny little similarities with each other. You'll find out that you guys both like the same foods, or the same kind of entertainment, or the same of anything for that matter. Maybe you guys are meeting for the first time, you're sitting down and you're talking, and you say things like, yes, yes, I've been doing that like this for years, or I've liked that stuff all my life, or, I've been doing that since I was 5 years old. You guys will just have this bond that you can't explain, regardless of how different you guys are. Your souls are alike. This is why you are soulmates. Now, once soulmates meet and they realize that they are soulmates, they lose all interests in romantic relationships with other people. That's why it's rare that soulmates will cheat on each other. because they'll have no desire to be with another person or look for another person once they've found their soulmate. It's because the feeling of having to look for someone completely disappears. Now, if your partner has ever cheated on you, chances are that's not your soulmate. Chances are you were probably their twin flame. Your soulmate would never hurt you intentionally or do anything to harm you. Now, for some people, it's a possibility that it could take you some time to find out how to get along with your soulmate. But personalities aside, your souls are a match. Even though your personalities are clashing and you're finding it hard to get along with each other, your souls are a match. Now, when one half of the soulmate match dies, the other usually dies with them or within a year or two of them. And this is very common. You know, this happened with my grandparents. My grandfather died in like April, and then my grandmother died a few months later in December. And it's because there's this beautiful unspoken language between the soulmates. Now, although every one of us has a soulmate, there will come a time when you separate physically, just like I just mentioned with my grandparents, how my grandfather died and then my grandmother passed away a few months later. Every one of us will experience death at one point in our life. That's something we all have in common, death. And with death comes leaving your soulmate behind temporarily. Remember, we're divine beings. We never really die. We just drop the vessel. But in 3D reality, when one of us dies, one of us is left behind, and it's just a temporary thing. Or you may be the one that is left behind. This will be possibly one of the most, wow, I just thought I saw somebody standing next to me. There's nobody there. It was weird. Stuff like that, when it happens, it catches you off guard. It's just so weird. Anyways, geez, where was I? Being left behind. One of us will be left behind, and it will be a very difficult experience for you. You'll be very heartbroken. You'll be very sad. Now, there are some of us that find our soulmate, but they're not able to be with that person. So there is a scenario where you can both be here on Earth and find each other, but you cannot be with each other. And it's painful, and you'll know it's painful. You'll know that you found your soulmate, but you can't be with this person. And it's because your soulmate is already married to another person, or your soulmate has an addiction issue, or your soulmate is incarcerated, or because in your religion, your family has to arrange your marriage due to religion and or tradition, or, you know, for whatever reason, has to live far away. A soulmate with a mental or physical disability, and so on. I mean, there's so many different reasons as to why you cannot be with your soulmate, even though you know you met your soulmate. And that's just as heartbreaking as losing your soulmate to death. Now, what we must all remember is, even though you're here on Earth, this is temporary. This is all just temporary. And if you lost your soulmate, or for whatever reason you can't be with your soulmate because your soulmate is married to somebody else or whatever, just know it's not going to be like that forever, okay? Because you are eternally tied to your soulmate. And at some point, either in this physical life or when you die, you will meet your soulmate again, and you will be with your soulmate again. If your soulmate has passed away, please don't resign yourself to being single for the rest of your life. You don't have to live lonely and unhappy and without love in your life. You don't have to live that way. I know some people that have lost their soulmate and they chose never to date or remarry again, but their life doesn't seem very happy. But it's not my place to tell them anything. Um, but I do know that when your soulmate dies, just because you found your soulmate, you lived with your soulmate, and you lost your soulmate, doesn't mean that you have to go on living on Earth without a mate, even though it's not your soulmate. Your soulmate wants to see you happy. Your soulmate would want you to have somebody to share your life with, to be, your ride or die, your team member, somebody that could be there for you. Two is always better than one. Now, again, your soulmate always wants what is best for you, and would want you to meet a companion to fill your days until it's time for you guys to meet each other again on the other life. Your ego is what tells you, that's wrong. Your soulmate died. You can't date again. That's so wrong. You can't do it. Blah, 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 blah. That's all ego. Your soulmate would want to see you happy. Now, this also applies to soulmates that are still living, soulmates that are alive, but for some reason are separated and cannot be together. Soulmates are always a part of your life, no matter where they are. You still will dream of each other, feel how they are feeling, think of each other, no matter what, whatever the circumstances is. Yes, it can be very painful to be without your soulmate or to be without your other half. I just want to say thank you to everybody that has donated. You've inspired me to keep going and to keep making these videos for you guys. If any of you guys would like to donate to my channel, you can do so by going and clicking on my PayPal link, which is down in the description area below. Any amount is acceptable. It could be 50 cents, it could be $1. If you don't want to donate in the form of money energy, I also accept time energy. So if you want to write me or send me a card or draw me a picture, my address is also in the description area down below, and you can donate by using time. And also, I want to thank everybody that has ordered a numerology report from me. Thank you so much. If you're interested in ordering a numerology report, all of the information is down below. Everything that I read is listed in the description area down below. When I read a numerology report, I analyze your name and date of birth so that I can reveal your unique combination of numbers to see what major breakthroughs will happen for you in your lifetime. This will give you the confidence that you need to forge ahead with unstoppable momentum. So if you would like to order a personalized numerology report from me, it's only $11.11. It's only $11.11 because it's an energy exchange. And in your report, you'll discover things like your deepest desires you've been keeping quiet for most of your life, and what you can do to finally attain them. Your report will also reveal where you are incorrectly putting your energy and why you never achieved the level of abundance that you've always hoped for. Your report will reveal things like upcoming challenges and lessons that you are meant to learn in this lifetime, and how to make the easy and effortless switch to success. The numerology report will also reveal your secret talents and hidden strengths and how to use them to get what you truly want in this lifetime. You'll receive powerful insight into your character, your quirky personality traits, and how your friends and colleagues and romantic partner really see you. Your personalized numerology report will reveal unexplored opportunities to change your life for the better this year, including the specific months you can expect big changes in your life, and what decisions you should make today to open yourself up to previously unattained levels of abundance this year. So start your journey to this new and abundant realm by harnessing the profound power of your numbers. All the information to order a numerology report is down below in the description area.